4.1, exemption of destination Great Lake Taupo Limited and data caption systems. And we have Alan Smiley. Good afternoon, Alan. How are you this afternoon?
Good, thanks, David. How are you?
Good, thank you.
So what government actually allows councils to do things under the Open Council to scope of the service provided by the organisation and the costs and benefits if the exemption were granted. Now, Council has a couple of shell companies that have no transactions. These are data capture systems and Destination Great Lake Taupo Limited. They were exempted a number of years ago, and it's required for us to review that exemption to see if it's still valid and decide whether or not to revoke it. The conclusion is that Council should not revoke the exemption and should roll it over for another 3 years.
Okay, thanks very much. I presume the word great goes in that. Oh no, just Lake. That's right. It's a limited company. Okay,
That's correct,
sorry.
yeah.
Yep, sorry, Alan. All right, pretty straightforward by the look of it, I think, Alan. Any questions of Alan? No? Got off pretty lightly?
Excellent.
Thank you. Okay, there's a recommendation there to have a move by Councillor Rankin, seconded by Councillor Taylor. All those in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. Thanks very much, Alan.
Thanks.
4.2, contract TDC for the Tongariro Domain Playground upgrade. We've got Mr. Travis Delich here. Good afternoon, Travis.
Good afternoon, councillors. Mayor? Okay, so this paper is to pass an official resolution to sign the contract. I've heard people sit up here and say, take the paper as read, but as I understand it, it's not the most clear paper, so apologies for that. I think it's a little bit of the complexity of the project combined with me maybe not doing these papers all the time. So I have provided a couple slides to go through just to take you through the process to address any questions that you may have, and then I'm happy to take questions after that. So
Okay, thanks, Travis.
I think who's up on? Okay.
Go with it.
Which port are you on, the one over there? You plug over here.
There we are.
So as I go into the presentation, it's just a couple slides. I just thought I'd take you through the timeline of how we got to where we're at, and then just explain how we came to the preferred supplier for the contract. So back in 2019, we started doing concept designs for the playground. Then in late 2019 to early 2020, we ran a RFP, which was based on weighted attributes. As part of that process, we shortlisted some candidates who then presented to the project team at the time. I know there was some confusion about the amounts that were in the tender process. So at the time, Bespoke Fleur was selected as the preferred supplier, and I'll go into that in the other slide, and that was at a value of $809,771. So that was what was in their tender submission. Since that tender was awarded, it was a design and build tender. So we worked with them to complete a detailed design out of the concept design, and then there was the construction installation costs of actually doing the playground. So we've worked very closely with them to ensure that we're delivering what the community wanted and do it within budget. So as part of that scope change in February, we received a commitment for a $100,000 donation, which was very generous from the 100% Great Lakes Charitable Trust. And as part of that, we shared the concept design with them, and it was agreed at the time that with that money, we'd like to do something really special with the playground, which is where some of the scope change came in, where the big centerpiece came into the picture. So that will start highlighting some of the differences in costs that I have in my report. Then in March, there was COVID, and we sat and waited for a while. Then out in May and June, we put out a survey and got quite a bit of feedback. I was in here and presented last month, I think, on the feedback that we received. We took that, incorporated into the design, and that's how we've come to the design as it is now, with the schedule of quantities that's in the contract, the types of things that we're ordering, etc. And so that's the process I've been going through in June and July, post that feedback. So the contract, the final schedule of quantities is $910,000. However, the request is for $950,000, and that allows us $40,000 contingency, which sounds like a lot, but it's actually only 4%. Normally, we like to go into these with a contingency of about 10 to 15%. But because we've worked so closely with them, I think we're good with the 4% contingency. So hopefully that explains why there's a difference between, I suppose, the figures I put in the paper and the initial awarded tender. So it's essentially down to scope change, additional funds, and requests as part of the donations, etc. So are there any questions on the timings?
Oh, thank you, Travis. Yeah, that was good to put those in. I appreciate that, because there was a little bit of confusion in the item. Any questions regarding the timeline on there, Travis? Councillor Body?
Not a question. Just in regards of your you got up there January, is it bespoke filter should be in here? It just says bespoke architects or landscapers.
Sorry, which
If you look at tenders received.
Oh,
you mentioned-
yeah, I probably should have put, well, Bespoke did the tender on, so they partner with Fluor to do the contract work, but they're the design company, so they design, but they also manage the people that do the installation of it, which actually I get into in the next slide. 2 companies under 1 contract, so Bespoke is essentially subcontracting.
Names one here, that was all.
Okay.
So that's correct in the recommendation there. Bespoke Fluor.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, cool. Any other questions of Travis? No? Okay.
Do-
So thank you very much. Any other, regarding the other things in the agenda item, is there anything else anyone wants to query? Councillor Taylor?
No, not a question. Just I wonder if in terms of the recommendation, we put it to a motion, we could change the $100,000 from donations to being specific, a donation from the Lake Taupo Charitable Trust, to acknowledge them up front in this meeting.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. Good idea, Councillor Taylor, and perhaps a number 2, perhaps, suggested, is we formally thank them for their very kind donation. So, 1 and 2, is that all right?
Thanks for that, Councillor Taylor. Also, no, we are going to work with them to ensure that we get the right recognition for their donation, because it was very generous.
Cool. Okay, we'll just make sure we encapsulate that in the resolution. Are you happy to move that, Councillor Taylor? Yes? Good one. Thank you very much.
Yes,
1 and 2, and seconded by Councillor Guy. You're all right, Shane? Have you got it there? That'd be cool. Thank you, Travis. I think we've got had enough of your timeline. We'll just get that resolution up there just to make sure we've got it right. That's right. Yeah, we've got the words. Yeah. So, been moved by Councillor Taylor, seconded by Councillor Kathy Guy. All those in favour, please say aye. Those against? Carried. Thank you very much, Travis. Right. Item number 4.3, submission on the draft navigation safety bylaw. Mr. Nick Carroll. Good afternoon, Nick.
Afternoon, Your Worship and Councillors. This is a relatively straightforward item. As Travis, my colleague, has noted, I'll take this as read, but happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions on navigational bylaws? No? Councillor Taylor.
It's not so much a question, more a comment. And I get the intent of this to provide some safety and as another step to prevent people from swimming where they do. But it's like putting signs up on the side of the road. It's only there for those who are prepared to accept. And I just wonder whether this, I'll acknowledge it is a step in the right direction, but I wonder whether it is enough. And we should be advocating for more physical barriers or other ways of preventing people from doing the inevitable. Because if we think that by simply passing a bylaw it's going to stop people swimming down there, and as an aside I was involved in this incident initially, we're kidding ourselves. So I think this is a good step, but we need to go further if we're going to make that area safe. Yep.
Cool. Good comments. Mr. Green.
So all I say is is that the Department of Conservation, who manages a lot of that land, did put barriers in instantly, so immediately following the incident. And the coroner obviously looked through the different elements and came up with a number of recommendations of which one was the one that that Nick has referred to in the submission around the bylaw. So you're right, the bylaw isn't a be-all and end-all, but there were a number of recommendations of which this was one. So it's a part of the picture. I guess what Waikato Regional Council have been hesitant to do to date is to put that, despite having a coroner's recommendation, they've been very hesitant to put that in their bylaw. It's their bylaw that we're submitting to. And so that's why ourselves and other parties are suggesting that we submit to put that on the record, that they should follow the coroner's advice and make that bylaw change.
Cool. All right, Councillor Williamson.
Yeah, through the chair, thank you. They're just, supporting Councillor Taylor's comments. Obviously, probably can never do enough, but obviously with young people, willing to take risks, so it's obviously something that's a bit of a challenge, but it's a bit like trying to fence off the lakefront, the cliffs, people still do sort of inappropriate, sort of dumb things, but as tragic as it was, so, but otherwise I think, I think this bylaw's sort of probably gone far enough in terms of, trying to regulate what people do, what they don't do, but...
Yep. Step in the right direction. Are you happy to move that, Councillor? So the recommendation up there is that we approve the submission. Moved by Councillor Williamson, seconded by Councillor Kingi. All those in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. Very good. Thank you very much, Nick. 4.4, sorry, is the draft. Adopting a draft transport strategy for consultation. Trying to stretch it out as long as I can, Aidan. So
No, we're good to go.
That's
So,
a real.
with the
Aidan, good
workshop,
afternoon.
you'll see in the draft paper in particular some tables. They're quite long and wordy, but they highlight the changes we've made since those workshops. So if you're comfortable with those, we're hoping you'll approve that we go out and talk to the public.
Okay, Councillor Kingi.
You go,
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a couple of comments. So totally supportive of our current train of thought around this and what we're hoping to achieve. Your Worship, I just wonder whether I could just add some other comments, and those have been contributions that have been made by members of the community back in Turangi about the significant role that bus transport needs to play for the future growth, I suppose, of town, and that has been captured in multiple ways by the consultation that Aidan and Co have had previously, but there are some very specific examples that are being put forward around the current proposed bus service or response bus service, and in particular the number of days that it may or may not operate. So I'd really be keen to see us reflect that, and when we're starting to talk to the community or consult with the community, that one of those specific things I'd like to see us ask is if there was a service of some description provided from between Turangi and Taupo, what are the common days? Would you use it 5 days a week? Something along those lines, because I think you worship have received an email directly from some residents. I've certainly been engaged in it's a very topical subject, so just to add further context to the strategy. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Kingi. Any other Councillor Leonard?
I appreciate the changes that have been made in that strategy. There's just a couple of things. In town, when we're at urban schools, we see the speed reduced to 40 kilometres an hour around those schools. Yet when I go to Tarahonga, Maratiri and Kuratau, our rural schools, it's still 100 kilometres an hour. I'm not sure whether rural children can run faster or whether rural people can hit their brakes quicker to ensure their safety. There's also flashing lights around our urban schools that our rural children are not afforded the change. We talk about freight being moved on rural roads. Taupo's also a service centre for our rural communities, and rural roads are not just for freight. They're there for health and safety, they're there for animal welfare, ensuring that our vets can get to us in a prompt and timely manner, for services and also for business continuity. The amount of money that comes into GDP into our district from those rural communities is quite exponential, and as I've said before, using one friend's example on Broadlands Road, that he pays $62,000 in rates. He supplies his own water, he supplies his own sewerage, he disposes of his own rubbish. Really, the roads are the only service that we provide to him for his $62,000 per annum. So they are service roads, not just freight roads.
Good points. Thank you, Councillor Leonard. Any other question? Councillor Taylor.
Yeah, just to provide some context around Councillor Leonard's comment on school zones. So from the Regional Transport Committee meeting yesterday, you'll know there is, I'm assuming your team knows, there is a national conversation around school speeds, including on state highways, which we need to advocate with NZTA on. Just encourage in terms of the way forward that our draft transport strategy aligns closely with the regional strategy, specifically around school speed zones, and there's nothing to stop us from moving those now rather than waiting for a national decision on that.
Just noting that Tarahonga Road is an on-estate highway, so it's actually ours, I believe.
So through the chair, that gives us the ability, if we were of a mind as a council, to do that sooner rather than later. We don't need to advocate with anyone other than ourselves.
Cool. Councillor Guy.
I made that change. Yep.
Thank you, Councillor Guy. All right. Nothing to add, Aidan? Sorry. Oh, Councillor Body.
At the last workshop, I raised the issue of access, and I noticed, Aidan, you've included it. Thank you. In correspondence with Rose Press yesterday, I think we're trying to get a meeting of the access group on the 12th of May, and Aidan's going to get an invitation, so thanks, Aidan.
Yep.
Cool. Thank you, Councillor Williamson.
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. This morning, Kevin gave us a pretty good overview of the strategy going forward with the shovel-ready money available for the CBD. So that still will align quite well with the consultation process going up the committee. Notwithstanding, there'll be some urgency getting on with some aspects of it.
Cool.
That'd be fair comment.
Yep. Fit in nicely. Correct, Councillor Williamson. Okay, very good. Thank you, Aidan. Nothing final you want to add?
No.
The consultation time frame.
We're hoping to commence next week.
Next
There's
week?
still some maps I'm editing, and I'm getting the online platform up and ready. So there may be a chance we push that back a week, but at the moment we're hoping for next week. And,
Okay.
as soon as I get those ready, Thursday I'll know. I'll let stakeholders know that it's coming.
All right, number 1 and 2 there, Councillor Taylor, moved but seconded by Councillor Park, thank you. All those in favour, please say aye. It's against, carried. Thanks, Aidan.
Thank you very much.
4.5, Turangi Turtle Pool membership fees. Tina? Oh, Scott? Afternoon, Scott.
Good afternoon.
Right, the floor is yours, sir.
Okay, so pre-COVID, it's quite a while ago, I presented it in a workshop to you guys around implementing memberships for the Turangi turtle pools to try to align them with the AC bars. So anything outside of the paper, I'm not sure if you've got any questions around that, but yeah, so I've put in the formulas, what I propose.
Yeah.
We've got the software, we're all ready to go. So any questions?
Okay, any questions here? I looked at my Turangi councillors. Any questions here? Councillor Mack?
So yep, at the TTCB we discussed this, and we actually all thought it was a really good idea. So we think it's right to bring it into alignment, and obviously the more you use it, the discount you get.
Yep,
Yeah.
cool. Okay, thank you, Councillor Mack. All right, any other questions for Scott? No. Do I have a mover? Pleased that recommendation is approved. Moved by Councillor Mack, seconded by Councillor Kingi. All those in favour, please say aye. It's against, carried. Thank you very much, Scott.
Thank you.
4.6, establishment of an ad hoc code of conduct committee. Tina?
Okay. So I'd just like to take the item as read, but just note that this is a procedural item to establish the Code of Conduct Committee, just in the event that the matter is determined to be material. So we've got one set up and established if it's needed.
Okay. Thank you very much. Any questions of Tina regarding this process? I have a mover, please. Moved by Councillor Kingi, seconded by Councillor Westerman. All those in favour, please say aye. Is against? Carried. Item number 4.7, Electoral System for 2022 and 2025 Triennial elections. Tina, you again.
This is a wee bit of a procedural item. Just wanted to note on page 54, B and C at the top of the page, that those dates 2020 should actually be 2021. So my apologies for that.
Sorry,
So under B, 28th of February is 2021.
oh yeah,
Yep. And May is 2021 as well.
okay.
So this is really just determining whether you use first past the post or single transferable vote in the local body elections. First past the post is the most prevalent one. I think there was about 12 or 13 who used STV local councils last elections.
Right. Okay. I'll probably look to my deputy mayor here, who's experienced both. Right.
No, people absolutely hate it. They don't understand, and there's not probably going to be another DHB election, so people won't have the confusion of two separate systems next time. So if we stick with first past the post, it'll be very clear.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Rankin. Any other questions? No. Moved by Councillor Park. Have a seconded by Councillor Guy. Thank you. All those in favour, please say aye. Those against? Carried. Thank you, Tina. Council engagements, 4.8.
So just want to add on to that, Your Worship, workshop on the 18th of August from 10 to 11 on the Class 4 gambling bylaw.
Yep, got that, Sean. Cool. Thank you. Anyone else got anything to put in there? No. Received the information. Moved by Councillor Westerman, seconded by Councillor Leonard. All those in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. 4.9, receipt of the final statements of intent. Afternoon, Jess.
Afternoon.
Jessica Sparks,
Yes,
correct?
correct. Thank you.
Oh, I got that right.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Welcome back, Jess. Oh, well, not welcome back, but welcome. Yeah, sorry.
Same person.
Yeah, same. All right, Jess, floor is yours.
I'll just take the item as read. If anybody
Pretty
has any
procedural.
questions about the statements of intent.
No, we've all read them and understand them, so
Excellent.
cool. Thank you very much, Jess. So that's the Taupo Airport Authority, Waikato LAS, Bay of Plenty LAS, Local Government Funding Agency, the bank. All right, thank you. Do I have a mover, please? Thank you, Councillor Leonard, seconded by Councillor Guy. All those in favour, please say aye. Those against? Carried. Thank you very much, Jess. 4.10, members report. Councillor Williamson.
Don't actually have any under my environmental portfolio, but I did attend the Turangi Community Board meeting last month and Kaunihera Community Association public meeting with Yvonne last couple of weeks ago.
Very good. Thank you, Councillor Williamson. Councillor Park.
Yeah, pretty light month, Your Worship. We've had a couple of economic development catch-ups. As a committee member, attended the inaugural Taupo East Rural Representative Group meeting, which was well attended. And from a youth perspective, I had children at home for the school holidays, so there you go. And also looking forward to Tech Week events this week. And also just note that Total Pathways are holding a job career expo this evening at the Great Lakes Centre from 5 to 7, which is not just aimed for youth, it's aimed for young adults as well into their 20s, and everyone's welcome to attend that.
Cool. Thank you, Councillor Park. Councillor Taylor.
In terms of sport and recreation, continue to work with the swim squads, Taupo Swim Club with Scott. Got another meeting coming up later this week just to advance that. That's progressing well, and I think we'll get a mutually beneficial resolution to that. That's all on sport and rec for me. Community safety, we've got a meeting coming. You talk about it, Tom.
Cool. Thank you very much, Councillor Taylor. Councillor Truman.
Just Mangakino, just big congratulations to the organisers of Mangakino Lake Hop. We had a phenomenal event that I have never ever seen the town that busy in my whole life. It was amazing. Then people that go to Hop say that it rivaled Whangata one, so yeah, big congratulations to them.
Yeah. Thank you, Councillor Truman. Councillor Westman. All good? Councillor Rankin.
As Anna said, we've had some economic development catch-ups, and a lot is happening in the district with economic development at the moment, but as I said this morning, a lot of it's commercially sensitive. The great thing is that there are a lot of jobs on the horizon across a variety of industries, so while we can't talk about the details of that, it's looking good.
Good. Thank you very much, Councillor Rankin. Councillor Mack.
So nothing on the environment portfolio, but as I said this morning on the new steering group for Turangi, with the new projects coming, we've got 3 projects now moving forward.
Great.
And that's going to be a really good thing for us.
Awesome. Councillor Leonard.
Just reiterating what Councillor Park said, we had our inaugural Taupo Rural East Committee meeting. It was really well attended by those people at River Road, and thank you to them for their attendance. It was wonderful to host the chair-elect for Fonterra here in Taupo. That was a bit of a great thing to have happen here. Just a little bit of concern out there for our lifestyle people, which there are many around the Taupo district. Their feed situation, the cost and supplies seeming to become quite an issue for them. Just a heads up.
Cool. Thanks, Councillor Leonard. Councillor Kingy.
Thanks. Just in terms of community safety, yeah, we've got our first meeting coming back up, so nothing really to report there. But I just wanted to support what Councillor Truman said about the lake hop for Mangakino. Massive event, and I think we need to ensure that we support that event into the future because it was a stunning success.
Thank Thank you, Councillor King. Councillor Guy.
Again, just reiterating what Councillor Rankin has discussed with regards to meeting with the EGLT chair. Obviously, that's a monthly meeting, and preparations are underway for the next 3 years for their budgets and work streams. Focus is certainly outward looking, working closely with NZTE and on some of these projects that are confidential but have a huge benefit to Taupo if they are successful, and the board is keen to meet with council on a governance to governance basis as discussed earlier this morning. I met with the Kinloch Marina board just to had a presentation with them. Attended the Business After 5 in Turangi last night, and we have also attended the presentation by Minister Jackson of the $722,000 to our Pathways project, and again we have the Kinloch representative group meeting on Thursday.
Cool. Thank you, Councillor Guy. Councillor Boddy? All good. Thank you.
Sorry, Your Worship, can I just thank the staff for their tireless work during lockdown and the announcement of the $21 million for our CBD revitalisation project?
Yeah, I'd just like to endorse that and thank the staff, everyone that's been involved in that, and our thanks to central government, let's be honest. You know, to get $21 million for our CBD is incredible. 5.8 million for our airport. 722,000 for our young ones to employ them, and you know there's been external organisations that have been the recipients. Geotech, Geo40, sorry, 15 million. You know, so you know we have been advocating strong as a team, and with alongside our staff, Enterprise Great Lake Taupo, and we've been successful. And having returned from Wellington last week. Has been noticed down there by several other councils, but I didn't have to shout the bar or anything, so don't worry. But you know, it's a lot of hard work going into that, and it doesn't go unnoticed. You could just take back to the team, SLT, and staff there this afternoon. So thank you all. It's going to be a very, very busy district going forward. Okay, no other Councillor King? Happy to move? Yep. Seconded by Councillor Truman, that we receive all the members' reports. All those in favour, please say aye. Those against? Carried. Thank you.